Hello and welcome to the vRunoffs Spec Racer Ford event here in week 13 at Detroit Belle Isle. We have got an action-packed event for everybody watching. We've got a couple of heats and then we've got a feature, and it's going to be an action-packed evening. We've seen a lot of racing throughout the Weekend Warriors series, but this time there's the Spec Racer Ford's vRunoffs. So if we've got a couple of heats, like I said, 8-minute long heats, 4 laps only. Top 30 go through to the features, that's everyone. And the top 6 from each are inverted from qualifying. Same for heat 2, so half the grid in each. Then we go to the feature, which is 15 laps of length. As you can see, we're just gridding up now for heat number 1. Like I said, 4 laps long. It's going to be very short here around the very tricky Detroit Grand Prix circuit. Walls very close and a very bumpy circuit as well. One of the bumpiest on iRacing, maybe bar Sebring and potentially the new Long Beach circuit that recently came out. Well, my name's Dane Ben, alongside me is Jim Hodgson, but we're about to get racing. And we have got on pole position then, we've got Florence Arabian, starting on the outside of that front row in the number 2 car. And starting on pole position is Hugh Haycox. And then we've got Antonio Race, Jason Perry, Maurizio Naselli. And that is the top 5 as we are about to go green then. Just waiting ever so slightly, but Haycox is off, the green flag is in the air, and we are racing for heat number 1. Here at Detroit, 3 wide in the second row. Austin Winner trying to make his way around the outside of those 3. Arabian battling with Antonio Race, and they make contact. Both of them turned around. Is this going to be a huge pile-up now because there's nowhere to go? The walls are so close. Everyone slamming into these drivers now. And we can see there is no pace car. So everybody is just having to make their way through. Remember, everyone gets to the feature, so that's not a problem for anyone. But this is basically qualifying for the feature. It's a 4-lap qualifying race, and some big losers in that one. You can see Austin Winner there. His car has got permanent right steering. He's having to steer almost 90 degrees right to go in a straight line. That car really badly damaged, but that was Florence Arabian and Antonio Race making contact as they went through turn 2. Really tricky section of corners there, and those two just touched each other slightly, but it sent them both around, and then there was absolutely nowhere for anyone else to go, and that caused a huge pile-up. But we've got some big winners in that as well, one of which, this man, Matthew Filipowicz. He's currently in 3rd position, starting 12th, I believe, when he crossed the line. And yeah, he is absolutely on top of the world after that. Remember, top 6 were inverted for the start of this race, I believe. Emil Orza we are riding on board with at the moment. He's sitting in 4th position, just behind Matthew ahead. And Hugh Haycox now making his way to the top of the timing tower. I believe there's a couple of drivers retiring to the pit lane. But Naselli is in 2nd. And now Emil Orza has had a good run down the start-finish straight. He's made his way up into 3rd. Almost a bit of contact between these two. Trying to recreate what happened on lap 1 between Race and Arabian. Emil Orza on the inside, the right-hand side of the circuit. And he has got quite a considerable gap to the drivers behind. As Matthew just tucks in behind in 4th position. And these drivers will be starting on the driver who finishes first will be starting on pole position for the feature, and that will then go first. Well, from everyone in this race, 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th will start 1st, 3rd, 5th, and 7th in the feature race. So they are fighting for each position on the inside of the feature grid. And we're just having a couple of issues with my co-commentator Jim Hodgson at the moment, so we can't bring him in just yet. But we've got some racing. Remember, it's only a 4-lap race. We're almost halfway through it in these cars. And we've got Dominique Barreau now just behind, sorry, Bob Kern. This is just the top 10, so 10th and 11th we've got here. Jeff Jacobson just behind. Philippe Chauvin just a few seconds up the road as they head through the final sector now. It looks like Dominique trying to make a move on Bob Kern down the inside of the penultimate corner. This isn't normally an overtaking spot. He's made that one work quite well. Now, will there be an availability of draft for Bob Kern to try and make a move back on Dominique Barreau? We saw that throughout the regular season in the last season of the Weekend Warriors. In this car, Jeff Jacobson has to slam on the brakes to try and avoid Bob Kern as they head through turns 1 and 2 now for the third time. Lap 3 of 4 here at Detroit in heat number 1. And Jeff Jacobson now got a good run down towards turn 3.
While we wait for our colleague Jim to come live, if I can, just give you a helping hand, because it's a long night, no? I don't want you to run out of your voice. So one thing I'm noticing here from the vantage point of the production booth. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Martin Filipovic is in the wall doing a 3-point turn. How many drivers? There are a lot of drivers who have elected to go to the pits, and other drivers who are chugging along, trying to finish the race with cars that are, have seen better days. You know what I mean? So it's a delicate balance. Do you risk staying out, or do you go in, take repairs, and hope to make as many passes as possible in only a 4-lap race?
It is only a 4-lap race in Detroit, not the easiest place to overtake, of course. So it definitely will be interesting to see the drivers that have pitted. I think the top driver that has pitted so far is Austin Winner. He's down at 17th at the moment, but he's made up a few places from where he was. He was heavily involved in that lap 1 incident, and he took a 1.5 second stop. So he took his fast repair and then left as quickly as possible. He's just moved up another position up into 16th now, getting past Arthur Grant. Further back we've got Miro Hrasky as well. He's up in 5th, making a move for 5th around the outside to turn number 1. Jason Perry gets back by though as they head through turns 1 and 2. One of the trickier parts of the circuit because there's a big old bump on the exit. Really unsettles the car and makes it very easy to spin around. And Perry, with his damage, unable to keep Hrasky behind.
Jason Perry, forum legend on iRacing and sporting a very nice Marvel livery, Spider-Man livery I'd say. Of course with the pink theme that we have seen all throughout the event. Of course the drivers both last week and this week are supporting the wife of one of our competitors who's having a very tough time with personal health. And that's why a lot of drivers you will see have either pink livery or pink wheels, and I think that Jason Perry's got both. That's very good looking.
Looks like his number's pink, yeah, absolutely. And he's got those bright pink wheels, and he's not doing too badly despite having all of that damage. You can see some of these cars really badly damaged. But yeah, we've got the 34 of Hugh Haycox. He's going to come around the final corner. Ooh, a little bit of a touch to the wall maybe as he comes around the final corner, but there he goes around the final kink. And that number 34 machine of Hugh Haycox will take pole position for the feature by winning heat number 1. We've got a few drivers still to cross the line, of course. Most of the drivers quite a few seconds back. We've got, I think it is a minute and 27 seconds is the largest gap for drivers that haven't finished the race yet to our leader. So we're going to have to wait a small amount of time before we can move on to heat number 2, which will have the other half of the grid, up to 30 drivers in that as well. I believe we'll have 23, maybe 24 drivers in that event. As yeah,
Dana,
drivers
I think,
just driving around.
We have our legendary colleague Jim Oxon, who's finally made his way into the press box after I think, spending a bit too much time in the ice cream stand, so I will move away from the microphone, and I will leave you two guys to it.
Well,
Well,
Jim,
thanks very
welcome.
much, Marco.
How much of that did you catch?
Yeah, well, quite a race going on so far, hey? Heat 1 looked exciting. Was certainly exciting for me, trying to make my way to where I should have been.
Yeah, absolutely. We're just waiting for the last couple of drivers to make their way to the finish line so we can start heat number 2. I would say chaotic. Ooh, big rear lockup it looks like for Darren in 21st at the moment, and he's coming around the final couple of corners. Lots of damage to that car, but he's going to cross the line to finish. He'll be starting near the back of the feature grid. That's going to be 15 laps, the feature race. But everyone unceremoniously kicked off the circuit, and we get ready for heat number 2.
All right, so you have your grid before you here. It looks like Josh Arnold will be starting in P1, and he'll have Steven Elson for company on row 1, followed by Ian Haycox, Dan Sadro on row 2. Then there's Andres Bertoni and Rafael Berbigal on row 3, followed by Jim McGill and Reed Miller. Then Michael Dobeck, Jeff Fritcher, Ken Batley, and let's see. Oh, I've lost. I think I skipped somebody there. I'm terribly sorry. But we go down to Ryan Bell in P13, followed by Claudio Vacalebre, it looks like. Wayne Palmer, Paul Jackson, Ian Gibson, Adam Bradshaw, Larry McLeod will be alongside Chris Murakami. And then there's Samuel Dick, Tom Gradwell, and I missed the last two, who are Brett Nordstrom and Brian Casey.
And we've just gone green. They're all heading through turns 1 and 2. Looks like a bit of a cleaner start than what we saw in heat number 1. Everyone seems to make it through turns 1 and 2 fairly cleanly. Yeah, everyone's managed to make it through. They've all survived as they head down in towards turn number 3, the first major braking zone on the circuit. Side by side now. That's the number 23, down the inside of Sadro. Oh, we got a spinner, the 142. A little bit of contact with the number 9 machine, I believe, but manages to get out of the way. Doesn't bounce back off the walls back onto the circuit, which we've seen way too many times. That was Jim McGill in the 142 machine, but it is the 323 of Josh Arnold leading the way. Stephen Elson just behind, he's almost side by side. Ian Haycox, who is in 3rd. The top 3 not changed from the grid. The 56 a little bit deep on the brakes, maybe. Actually, the 71 a bit late on the brakes. That's Andre Bertoni, currently sitting in 4th position. He's got Rafael Berbigal just behind us. Oh dear, what has happened into, what is that, turn 7 potentially? One of the biggest braking zone on the circuit. Lots of drivers seem to be in the wars, it seems.
Yeah, you know, that's the thing about Belle Isle, isn't it? If you have somebody has an incident and they get a little bit crossed up, there's not a lot of room to maneuver, and you definitely get some knock-on effects. Doesn't appear to be bothering this pack of leaders here too terribly much, though, as we see the fastest lap of the race set by Arnold there at a 1:53. Also interesting to me to see the Volcano car. That's Berbigal there, that we've seen plenty of him over the course of the series, but not running at the front of the field. I mean, he's in P5. Oh, we lose another car. Yes, that was a car that was running in P4. No, it was the leader.
Stephen Elson is dropped down to 12th, make that 13th. And let's see what happened to Stephen Elson then. Is there a bit of help? Oh, there's a bit of netcode At least on my screen, I see that as a little bit of netcode, and he gets sent over the curbs and into the wall. Not much he could have done about that. And unfortunately, that sent him right down to the midfield. And 14th he currently is, but with a lot of rear damage. Arnold, meanwhile, 1.2 second gap to Bertoni, who is in second. Then it's Haycox and Berbigal, who we see here. Berbigal on the 23 Volcano machine. Haycox in third, just ahead of him, and they've got Daniel Sadro for company. Dan Sadro in fifth in the 51 machine. He's not doing too badly at all at the moment. Had a bit of a tough luck in the last couple of rounds of the Weekend Warrior Series, which was broadcasted here on Apex Racing TV, but seems to be going alright for him right now, up into fifth.
Yeah, it does seem to be going well. It seems like the race might be kind of settling into itself. Of course, as I say that, we are on lap 3 of 4, so not too much of this particular heat left to go. But hopefully we'll settle down a little bit and just get some good, clean racing. We're riding on board here with the rear of Haycox as Berbigal has a little look. They're side by side, and it looks like Berbigal is going to get that done before they have to get hard on the brakes to make that right-hander. He does indeed. Berbigal now will be thinking about whether he can catch Bertoni and Arnold, although with the time remaining, that might be a big ask to be able to get any kind of pass done. But one never knows, actually. As I say that, Berbigal very much over on board with Sadro here. My mistake.
Oh, is this a little bit of a battle for the lead brewing? Andre Bertoni in second, looking to try and make a move on Arnold. Arnold defending well into quite possibly the best overtaking opportunity on the circuit in these machines. They head through the tight middle sector now. Tight and twisty section of the circuit before they get hard on the power once again. Just 2 corners to go of lap number 3. They'll be starting the final lap in just a few moments. Remember, this is the battle for the front, for the second position on the grid for the next race. Arnold trying to break the draft a bit, moves to the right hand side of the circuit. Bertoni doesn't look like he's going to be close enough to make a move as we get the white flag for heat number 2.
Yep, on to the final lap of the race we go. And Bertoni just there in P2, setting the fastest lap of the race so far at that 1:46.2. And here is the second group. I believe, no, it's a little bit further back. We were just riding on board with Fitcher there. And now on board we are looking with at Batley. Some great battles up and down the field. Nice to see that. And, you know, a pretty big, a big field means that there's lots of racing going on up and down the timing tower. Here we are back with your leaders. Battling it out nose to tail is Bertoni. There indeed we are riding on board with Bertoni. You can see the rear of Arnold's car looking a little bit worse for wear, but nevertheless scampering into the distance here.
Yep, he certainly is. A little bit of damage to both of these cars. Oh, it looks like he might have just picked up a little bit more. Bit of a touch to the outside wall, potentially on the exit. Bertoni catching ever so slightly the driver of Arnold just ahead of him. Oh, looks to the outside. Desperate to try and make that move stick. I think he might have just picked up a bit more damage. I think he might have just touched the outside wall once again. That left side of his car taking a real beating here. 2 corners to go then. Who is going to win? I think it's going to be Arnold. Let's see though. Arnold moving far to the right hand side to avoid giving Bertoni any draft at all. Bertoni pulls to the inside, but it will just about be Arnold who takes the win in heat number 2. He'll start alongside the winner of heat number 1. He'll be starting second on the grid. Bertoni will have to start on the second row on the outside in 4th as the rest of the drivers finish the race. Remember, everyone makes it through to the feature. This is sort of just a qualifying heat system that they've got going on here in the vRunoffs. And just a few drivers left to finish the race. Looking at Bradshaw at the moment. And then we'll be on our way to the feature. That's going to be 15 laps. And it's going to be a lot of fun, I'm sure, for these drivers out there. Just waiting for a couple more drivers.
Dane, I don't know if you caught it there, but Berbergal's final lap charge there was really something to... It was really remarkable. He ended up with the fastest lap of the race at a 1:45.7. Everybody else is more in the 1:46.6, 1:46.8. So he managed to pull a second, you know, just about on the field in that final lap charge. Look at that. So you have to wonder how he'd have done in these two heats had he started, you know, in P1 and had some clear air.
Absolutely. We've seen him be consistently quick in the Weekend Warriors series, and no surprises that he's quick here today as well. As we are just getting ready to go for the feature. Now we do have the grid up on the screen. And Jim, why don't you take us through it?
Happily. So, on row 1, you'll have Hugh Haycox and Josh Arnold, followed by Maurizio Naselli. We've seen plenty of him. And then Andres Bertoni, Emil Orza, Rafael Berbergal, there he is in P6. Simon Mayer in P7 there, joined by Ian Haycox. And then there's Myro Rasky, Michael Dobek, Jason Perry, and Dan Sadro rounding out up to the 12th position, followed by Philippe Chauvin in P13. Reed Miller and Dominique Bureau there in P15 has Ken Bately for company. Jeff Jacobson is alongside James King, followed by Bob Kern, Jeff Fritcher, Gary Wolbolt, Wayne Palmer, Brian D. Short. I appreciate the middle initial there, Mr. Short, and Chris Murakami in P24. They are followed, of course, by Nico Shook in 25th, Larry McLeod, Matthew Filipowicz, Stephen Elson, Stevie Ray. Thanks to Stevie Ray for putting this together, I believe. And they have, he'll be followed by Jim McGill, Austin Winter, Tom Gradwell, Forens Arabian, Ian Gibson, Arthur Grant, and Samuel Dick in 36th place. They are followed by Yang Shi Lin, whom we've seen plenty from lately, Brian Casey, Paul Godden. I believe Nordstrom was next. Let me just turn my head here. See if I can get down, if I can get everybody out. Yes, and then there was Bob Kern, Philip Godden, I think, Darren Kuhn, maybe Adam Bradshaw. That should round it out. Just didn't have enough time to get to everybody. And here we go racing.
Absolutely, and Haycox with an early lead. Naselli down the inside of Arnold into turn number 3. Looks like everyone got through turns 1 and 2 once again, so no repeat of what we saw in heat number 1, but have they all got through turn number 3? Looks like they might have just about done that, as it's a massive scramble at the back of the grid, but Haycox still leading Naselli, then Arnold, Bertoni and Berbergal, the top 5 as it stands at the moment. Jacobson, what has happened to him? He is dropping down the order drastically. I'll have to wait and see what happened to Jacobson there. 15 laps or 27 minutes, whichever finishes first. And Arnold looked like he was trying to go down the inside of Naselli in turn. Oh dear, what's happened to the 205? Frasky is going to have to let the entire field through. No, he's not. He's just going to reset back to the pits. And he will be losing a lot more positions than having to let everyone through, unfortunately for him. Haycox still leading Naselli right on his tail though, and then Arnold and Bertoni separated by 0.2 of a second. Oh dear, the 59.
Oh, no.
Chauvin. Now what has happened to him? Oh, the 119 in the background. Was that Samuel Dick potentially? As they're trying to go 4 wide down the main straight. This is the battle for 7th. As we've got, oh, a little bit loose for Ian Haycox there. There's two Haycoxes. There's Hugh Haycox, who's currently leading, and Ian Haycox, who's fighting for 10th. As Naselli going around the outside into turn 3, just about makes that one work. Gets a bit on the grass, but he's made it work. He's up into the lead of the race. The number 1 machine is in position number 1. Haycox now has Bertoni in his mirrors.
Yes, indeed. Plenty of racing going on here. That battle just there on that right-hander between Naselli and Haycox, it looked like they were just doing everything they could to give each other racing room, which is exactly what you want to see. But in this case, I think that Haycox was sort of forced to take a little bit more curb than he might have liked, which cost him some time. Although he doesn't look like he suffered too terribly much, now closing up on Haycox. Riding on board here with Burbigal, who has a little look down the inside, the very same corner on the 323 machine of Arnold, and I believe he gets it done.
Yep, good move from Burbigal. Up into 4th he goes. And he's now got a bit of work to try and catch up to Andre Bertoni just ahead. Now let's... Oh, what's happened to Bertoni? Yes, talking of the number 71, he seems to have just lost it all on his own. Through the hairpin, one of the more difficult traction zones. There's no one really around him. Let's ride on board here. It's one of the most yeah, he's just touched the curb on the inside. That's what he's done. And oh, just about, it seems, gets out of the way before Burbigal slams into the back of him. And Burbigal inherits 3rd place from him then. Naselli setting the fastest lap of the race on lap number 2. Trying to pull away a little bit from Haycox, but Haycox seems to have caught back up quite considerably. Here is the battle for the lead. Then into turn 3. Haycox not close enough to make a move. But Miller getting past Jason Perry, seemingly through the draft in towards turn number 3. He has the move done before the braking zone. Lots of moves being made into turn 3 here on lap 3. This is Larry McLeod having a little bit of a battle here. And Austin Winner, once again, so unlucky for him. He's got so much damage to the front of that car. So does Florence Arabian. Those two can't catch a break in this event, seemingly.
Well, we kind of expected this to be a gladiatorial sort of an experience, didn't we, with Belle Isle being so close. But, you know, there's plenty of excitement to be had, even if the cars are taking a bit of a beating.
Yeah, absolutely. Always a gladiator fight here at Detroit. Not even just with the drivers between themselves as we're used to seeing on some circuits, as driver versus circuit for the most part here. It's Detroit,
no.
And we've just seen that again. I think that's King. He's dropping down the timing tower. Seemingly does the exact same thing as we saw Bertoni do the lap prior. Oh, Antonio Race. Really loose on the exit there, and oh, Bertoni's lost it again. That looks like it is between the final and the penultimate corner. As oh, number 9 all over the grass. Drivers losing control of their cars left, right, and center here at Detroit.
Yeah, I think that was an evasionary move on the part of the number 9 car. I think he just really had to get on the brakes there, or he would have contacted a car ahead. And now we've lost the number 34 car.
He was in second. That's Hugh Haycox. Oh, that's a very dangerous place to be, as well as Jason Perry.
No.
Find out. Now, where has Perry gone? Because I don't see him on the timing tower. Oh, it looks like he survived. Just about. As Perry, but Haycox. Yeah, that was a very, very unfortunate position for him to be stuck in.
Yeah, Haycox is wishing there were some fewer cars in the on the track, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, let's have a look at Ride on Board with Jason Perry then. Here's a replay. What happens is you try and run as wide as possible on exit, of course, to try and run the most speed through the corner as you can. And he still can't see the car. He's braking, he's turning, probably still can't see, and then all of a sudden, oh, there's a car in my way. And for Perry, it doesn't look like there's actually too much contact. But that must have been a pretty scary moment there for Haycox, especially if he's a driver that runs in virtual reality. Oh dear, that's a bad rejoin. That is an awful rejoin from the 308. That is Simon Mayer. And that is a massive gaggle of cars heading through the final couple of corners now. 3 wide through the final corners. I've never seen cars run side by side here. And
I think
not,
that Reed Miller's car just T-boned him.
Yep, I think so as well, but Simon Mayer really did not pick a good opportunity to come back onto the racing line there. He heads down into the pits. The number 9 car running a little bit wide there as well. That's Miller. Running side by side through turn 1, just got forced out wide there. And he's down in 17th. Meanwhile, Barreau trying to make his way up into the top 10. Larry McLeod trying to go down the inside of both of them. And he does so. Good move from Larry McLeod. And he moves up into 10th. He's still got Dominic Barreau on his outside though. But that's no longer a worry for Larry Lefty McLeod.
That was a nice move. Well done, McLeod.
Absolutely. Centered up the inside of the 2 drivers. Nice and easy through turn number 3.
Meanwhile, Naselli running pretty much by himself at the front of the race. Since Haycox lost his car, got spun around. There was so much excitement there. We don't really know everything that happened. Here's another car that spun around.
That's the other Haycox.
The other Haycox, indeed.
That looks like just the bumps. I would say just, oh, Sadro. Is there contact between himself and Sadro? Nope, just the bumps. Just loses it on the bumps. And yeah, tries to get out of the way as much as possible. Chauvin seems to have lost a couple of positions. Chauvin is off circuit. Off circuit on a street circuit. You never want to see that, do you?
Yeah.
And there he is. Oh, well. Oh,
Chauvin.
That was very sketchy. Marco Barbanero, I believe, in the production booth, screaming in our ears. As that was a very, very sketchy moment. I think was it Simon Mayer was just behind him? I think it might have been. Taste of his own medicine, maybe?
There's the Yang Shi Lin making a little move down the inside. Seen plenty of him in his car, more at the pointy end of the field, but he's getting some work done there in the rear.
Oh, Stevie Ray and Austin Winner. This is out of turn 3 and towards turn 4. Winner down the inside. Winner with a lot of damage to his car. Stevie Ray now has the inside. Winner trying to get the cut back potentially. Oh, Stevie Ray spins and is collected by Arabian. And they're now 3 wide in towards turn number 6. Arabian round the outside of Stevie Ray.
Ray lost that car twice.
Yeah, and he's got a lot of damage now. Huge amount of damage.
He lost the car, got smacked back in, headed the right direction.
Dear.
There's another right behind him, and he goes into the tire wall. Oh, that's Miller, Reed Miller.
More damage to Miller's car as Stevie Ray just driving straight into the tire barrier on the outside there. As Naselli extending his lead. I say extending his lead, he's not really. Berbigal setting the purple fastest lap of the race so far. On lap number 6 he did that. They're starting lap 7. We're not even halfway through the race.
Yeah, let's see. Lapping at pretty similar times are Berbigal and Naselli, so I'm not sure if Berbigal is going to be able to close up that 4 seconds. Unless Naselli, has some sort of misadventure befall him. You can see the gap there. That was Berbigal just coming onto your screen there in the rear. We'll see him again. There he is. So it looks like Naselli's got plenty of clear track ahead, so he might be able to just keep his head down and win this feature race. But of course, if he loses the rear or has any sort of misadventure, as I say, I have no doubt that Berbigal will be happy to close up that gap and make a pass if he can. Still staying at about 4 seconds is the gap.
And this is in no way I sit back and relax with a 4-second lead. This is a, oh please don't lose the car, with a 4-second gap with around about 7 laps to go for the leaders. You got to go 8 seconds behind, 9 seconds behind. Oh, what's happened to Bately and Palmer? Separate incidents. I think both of those drivers have spun. That is probably the worst place he could have spun in the 22. Drives it straight into the wall trying to turn around. Luckily for him, no one there to T-bone him. Now what's happened here? I think we've seen a driver spin at pretty much every single corner of the circuit so far, and oh dear, just loses the rear end. And Palmer, oh,
I think he had a little help.
yeah, I think we're gonna have to get another look at Palmer's incident, but oh, that's not Palmer, it was Bately. Oh no, it was Palmer. Bately was the driver who spun in the first replay. Arnold, 13.5 seconds off the lead, but he's got Nima Orza and De Beck for company as Bell moves into the pit lane. Ian Haycox and Darren McLeod further back making moves. Ian Haycox on the outside. Darren McLeod moves up into 8th. As actually, no, Ian Haycox back down the inside for turn number 4. Oh, a bit of contact between the two of them. No one into the wall just yet though, as Haycox gets ahead, back ahead of McLeod there.
Yep, and Haycox loses the car once more and into the wall. As winner comes around, both of their cars looking very much the worse for wear. I wonder if Haycox's car remains drivable. It looks like he's at least somewhat headed in the right position, but yeah, it looked like I was expecting him to lose the rear of the car in that battle. That was with McLeod, I believe. Just looking at the attitude of the car, there he goes, loses the rear once more.
Oh dear. I think that was Murakami trying to get past there as well.
And Haycox has had enough.
Yeah. Berbagal losing time a bit to Naselli. Oh, this is the battle for, what is this, 3rd? Arnold ahead of Orza, ahead of De Beck. De Beck looked to the outside, he's going around the outside. The 99 of Orza kind of stuck on the outside of turn number 2 now. And yeah, De Beck up into 4th then, with Arnold still in 3rd. Now what's going to happen down the straight? Is anyone close enough to make a move? Is De Beck going to try and send one down the inside into turn number 3? He looks down the inside, no move was made. And these three carry on for another lap. Still just under 6 laps to go for these drivers here. Just over 6 laps to go, I think, actually. My maths really not helping me at the moment. But yeah, we've lost a lot of drivers from the race so far. I don't think there's any cars outside of Naselli and Berbagal without damage. As Antonio Reyes makes his way past Chris. That's actually Kim Bately, actually. As this battle for 3rd heating up a little bit into towards one of the more difficult braking zones on the circuit. Seen a lot of drivers lose the car through here, touching those curbs, these massive curbs that they have here at Detroit Belle Isle. Really, really tricky. You can see how much the bumps are. They're huge bumps on the outside, on the where you really want to just floor it and go. You really have to be careful with all the bumps on the exit of that corner. Coming to start the next lap then, around the final corner they go, and they're going to start another one. And Dominique Barrault is on the back of Larry McLeod.
I can't imagine what it would be like to drive this circuit in the prototypes. Can you? With all the bumps, bouncing around in a car that has the kind of performance those cars do. I mean, you know, the SRF is not the world's fastest racing car, so even though the circuit is bumpy, I just can't imagine how much worse it would be. You know, the performance difference between the Spec Racer Fords and the prototypes, I think, is pretty significant. Look like a little pass there. Dobek now leading this group.
Oh, they're trying to go 3 wide. Nimble Orza forcing his way down the inside of Arnold. Arnold drops back to 5th, but Arnold looking down the inside once again and makes it work. Good move from Arnold to keep fourth. Meanwhile, Debeck trying to check out a bit. As yeah, these two battle away through turns 5 and 6. Now heading down the straight. I say straight, it's a bit of a bent straight, like they have, say, at Monaco. And a really, really bumpy braking zone here. Oh, he's gone a little bit deep. As Orza, that's not going to help him out at all. He's now going to have to try and catch back up to Arnold.
Yep.
Oh, that was close.
Gehan leading that little group there, and now these guys are going to go too wide. And it looks like they've managed to keep themselves mostly safe, but the cars look like in certain other times they've had not such good luck. Look at that car.
As I find myself saying a lot, commentating on Spec Racer Fords, these cars look resemble NASCAR modifiers more than they resemble Spec Racer Fords at the moment. Quite a few of them. There's lots of damage to these cars. I don't see any cars without damage. I really haven't, other than people who have pitted, and other than Naselli, and even Naselli. Oh, he does have a bit of damage to the back of his car. I thought my damage, my iRacing lagged just a tiny bit there on my end and gave him a lot of damage to his car, but he has only a little bit of damage to the back of his car. Berbegar has quite a bit of damage to the right hand side and the left rear of his car. Yeah, I really don't think there is anyone without damage. This circuit really claiming everyone as its victim today.
Yeah, well, I think everybody's having a ball out there. I'm certainly jealous. It looks like a lot of fun. Now, this is the Group 4-3. That's your P3 driver there, Dobeck, ahead of Arnold and Orza. Seems like Dobeck and Arnold are kind of getting away from Orza a little bit. Now, you talk about a car with some damage. If my memory serves, I think Orza's car is looking much the worse for wear. Let's see this side here. Yeah, looks like it got thrown down a set of stairs.
That would be a sight, seeing a Spec Racer Ford car getting thrown down some stairs. But yeah, I can definitely see where that's come from. Sperbergar sets another fast lap of the race. He's actually closing down that gap to Naselli. Not very quickly, a couple tenths every lap or so. But it's only 3.4, 3.3 seconds at the moment, down from 4.4. So he's closing down, but he's only got 4 laps left of the race. So it's not going to be too easy for him. Battle for third place, however, as intense as ever. Arnold right on the back of Debeck. Debeck really did not get a good exit there at all. Arnold helped by the draft a little bit, giving him the old Schumacher squeeze. Down into the braking zone they go. Who's going to be the latest braker? It's going to be Arnold. Arnold into turn 3. Oh, I thought he ran a little bit deep there. He gets a little bit on the grass, but he managed to make that move work. He finds himself up into third. Meanwhile, Orza trying to close the gap, about 0.4 of a second behind. And then Sadro and Perry just behind. You can see them in the shot now.
Yeah, I don't think we've heard the last of this battle. Probably one of the more exciting groups on the track. These guys have been duking it out all race long, have Arnold, Dobeck, and Orza. Now, Arnold currently leading, currently in P3. And then we have Perry and Sadro behind. Looked like Perry had a little thought of maybe trying to make something happen on Sadro there, but didn't quite have the space.
Yeah, it's a pretty common theme around this circuit, not having the space. Oh, Sadro getting up on the curb. We've seen that way too many times in this race go badly, badly wrong. But they're definitely catching up to the pack ahead as they battle along. Arnold managing to stay ahead for that entire lap, ahead of Debeck and Orza. Orza's closed right up though. Arnold has found himself in a bit of a swarm now because he's in a little bit of trouble. Debeck has quite a bit of draft. These cars have quite a powerful draft despite not having too much aero work on them. Debeck, that was a brilliant move from Debeck round the outside of turn number 1. He claims to move into turn 3. Orza's like he's trying to go down the inside. He's going to the outside of Arnold at the moment. Arnold's trying to make it 3 wide. Are they going to go 3 wide into turn 3? Yes, they are. Into the braking zone they go. Orza backs out of it. Debeck and Arnold side by side. Arnold has it gone deep. Just about makes it through. Arnold swoops around. And Orza goes down the inside of Debeck on the exit to take 4th. But all of this battling has allowed Perry and Sadro. Perry's just got ahead of Sadro actually. But it's allowed Sadro and Perry to catch right up. We've now got a 5-way battle for 3rd with just over 2 laps to go.
We really do. And Arnold, it seems like, has been able to get a slight gap on Orza and Dobek. There they are. Orza and Dobek going 2 wide, battling it out for 4th position. Let's see if Orza's managed to get around Dobek. Looks like Dobek is a little bit ahead, but it's exactly as you said. Perry is right there with him.
Absolutely. Arnold trying to extend that gap. He's got just a tiny bit. Gap's around 7/10 of a second now. 8/10 of a second actually, as they make their way through the final part of the circuit. Naselli then leading the race. Berbigal taking another chunk of time out of his lead. I think Naselli is trying to just take it easy. 2 laps to go for him. And he's got a lot of lap traffic to contend with, as he's getting helped actually a bit by the 40 car there. Getting a bit of draft down the straight, trying to extend his lead over Berbigal, try and maintain his lead over Berbigal. But Arnold, he's lost a bit of his gap. Gap's only 4/10 of a second now. But then there's 8/10 of a second to Orza. Orza spins in the background. Has he kept out of the wall? No, he hasn't.
Oh.
2 hits to the wall. He's right on the apex now, though. Luckily for him, he's got about 3-4 seconds of a gap to Burrow. Burrow gets past him, but I don't think there was any contact, luckily for them. Debeck going around the outside of Arnold. Arnold sending one up the inside. Is that too deep this time? Yes, it is. Big contact into the wall. Perry and Sadjo will get past. And for Arnold, that was just one lunge down into turn 3 too many. Doesn't work out this time. Debeck, he bounced back into Debeck. Does Debeck now have a bit more damage to his car because of that? Immo Orza, he's got a lot of steering damage to that car. Debeck has a lot of damage. You can see getting pushed by Jason Perry. Perry finds himself up into 3rd.
Yeah, this has worked out nicely for Perry. Perry's car looking all right. Just looking at the rear there, it looks like he's maybe got I think he's certainly got the best looking car of this group. The rest of them looking very wadded up. This might really play very well into Perry's hands. He could end up with a podium position if he it's not if he doesn't befall any sort of misadventure. It looks like there's a car heading into the pits in the back there. That might have been Batley, possibly. And here we are on board with the leader, Naselli, with Berbigal right there within a second. So something has happened.
Oh, you can see he's got a lot of damage to the front right of his car, trying to use the draft of the driver ahead. Berbigal, he's also got quite a bit of damage, but we know the draft is powerful here. Can he get close enough in the next couple of corners to maybe try and make a move in towards turn number 7? Berbigal running a little bit wide. White flag. Remember, this is the final lap of the race. Let's see what happened to Naselli. Is there a bit of help from lap traffic? Yeah. Oh dear, oh dear. Oh. Yes, there is. And that not only gave him damage, it really stopped him right in his tracks. Berbigal now 9/10 behind. I don't think Berbigal's going to be able to catch up enough, as Barreau and McLeod swapping positions further back, and Berbigal just not close enough. Naselli just has to survive the next couple of corners. Berbigal closing down that gap. Berbigal, oh, Berbigal's crashed into the wall on the outside, just pushing a bit too hard. You can see the tire marks. He's hit the wall with the rear of the car first. He's very slow. He's got 20 seconds to Perry behind. Will he be able to keep second? Naselli's coming around the final corner. If he can just survive this. Every single driver, I'm sure, has been involved in some kind of incident. Naselli weaving. He knows that he has got this win. Will Berbigal be able to keep second from Perry, though? Naselli crosses the line, takes the checkered flag. He wins the feature. Look at that car crabbing there as he's getting overtaken by, I believe, a lapped car in that number 25.
I think that might be winner.
No, it's Brian Casey, actually. Berbigal Berbigal crosses the line to take second. I've never seen a car finish in second that's that damaged. Perry somehow finishes in third. That was a Moses moment for him. As just somehow getting through all of that carnage. Ahead of him, Sadro finishes ahead of Arnold and De Beck, who finished very close together indeed. McLeod and Barreau finished side by side. McLeod taking 7th and Barreau in 8th. Winner finishes in 9th and Arabian in 10th, and we've still got a battle here. This is Samuel Dick, Ian Gibson and Nordstrom. And then just behind those two, Bradshaw, Mayer and Short. So a lot of drivers here fighting for the final positions in the top 20. A little bit of contact. At 279 is around. That's Nordstrom. He drops down quite a few positions. He won't have too much damage, I wouldn't have thought, but he's dropping down quite a lot of positions. What has happened to Bradshaw? Bradshaw, is he trying to... Oh, what's he done? Oh, what's happened there?
Guys, the Demolition Derby is supposed to be after the race.
As Bradshaw swooping across, and it looks like Simon Mayer is going to take 19th as they cross the line. Bradshaw finishes in 20, then it's Short and Nordstrom. I'm not sure what we've just seen in the final corner there. That was very odd. Very, very odd indeed. As I think that everyone finished the race now. Are they going to do a Demolition Derby as we see so often in the Weekend Warrior series? Guess we'll have to wait and find out. I don't know where they would do a Demolition Derby here. They normally do it in a big open space of the track, but there's not really... Oh, there it is. In the background of the shot. They've done it in turn 3. Well, here are the results then. Maurizio Naselli, the only driver not to spin in the race, I think. As we see the drivers all slamming into one another in the background. Rafael Berbigal could have won potentially. Was so close to taking that win. But then unforced error from himself. And he finishes in second, 14 seconds down. Jason Perry, good result from him. He finishes in third. Then Dan Sadro, Josh Arnold, Michael DeBeck, Larry McLeod, Dominic Barreau, Austin Winner, and Florence Arabian. I'm sure those two in the 9th and 10th weren't going to be expecting those positions from where they started this feature. They started right at the back, I believe, in 40th on the grid. Those two, and yeah, really good from them to make their way back up through the field. Emil Orza will be kicking himself after that mistake into turn 1, just a few laps before the end. Chris Murakami finishes in 12th. Then Antonio Race, Yancy Lin, Hugh Haycox, Gary Wolbolt, Andre Bertoni, and Ken Bately. Then Simon Mayer, Adam Bradshaw, Brian Short, Brett Nordstrom, Ryan Bell, Matthew Filipowicz. Then Mark Geehan, Ian Gibson, and Paul Jackson was the last person to finish on the lead lap in 27th. Samuel Dick finishes a lap down in 28th. Then all a lap down. James King, which got Tom Gradwell, Brian Casey, Jeff Fritcher, and Arthur Grant. 2 laps down were Nico Shook, and Ian Haycox, as well as Bob Kern, Jeff Jacobson, and Darren Kahn. They are 3 laps down. And then the retirements, I would say. Claudio Bacalebre in 39th. Stevie Ray, Reed Miller, Philippe Chauvin, Jim McGill, Paul Godden, Stephen Elson, Mira Rasky, and myself, Dane Baird, because I signed up as a driver instead of a spectator for this session. So I finished
Kairos
at last.
had an incident-free race.
I did have an incident-free race. The same cannot be said for those cars. Now they really do look like NASCAR modifieds. As we see in the background, the Demolition Derby taking place. Well, we have got time for an interview then. And let's get... Well, the only driver that was waiting for an interview. We've got Dan Sadro here in his 51 machine. Dan, welcome. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Loud and clear. Well, Dan, That was an interesting event then. It was lots of chaos, as I guess would be customary around here at Detroit Belle Isle with such a huge grid. But you seem to survive it pretty cleanly, I guess, finishing in 4th position at the end there.
Yeah. When I set up this the way we were going to run it today, I wanted to find a way to create a little action. Maybe at Belle Isle we didn't need any extra action. It's a tough race and a tough track, and if you're off by if you're off by an inch or anything, you just make a mistake. I made a mistake. Obviously, a lot of other drivers made mistakes. I just was able to keep going and at least finish the race all right.
Absolutely, yeah. We were looking through near the end of the race. I didn't see a single driver who didn't have some kind of mistake or damage to their car. The track really did claim everybody as its victim. It looked like a lot of fun out there. You had some close racing as well near the end with Jason Perry as well. And yeah, talk us through that. It must be pretty hectic. It's hectic racing closely to someone at the best of times, but then add in bumps and walls, and it makes it a bit more intense, I'd say.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was in a great race against it was Michael Dobeck and I think it was Ian Haycox, and Ian had a spin and I was able to avoid him, but by avoiding him I put myself into the wall, which was just dumb, but I was able to keep going straight, and that was the important thing. I knew Jason was going to catch up, and I didn't make it too difficult for him, but then he was able to kind of lead the way, and I could get some draft and get up a few more positions at the end.
And it worked out all right for you, because the drivers ahead of you that you're trying to catch up to all sort of took themselves out of contention. You ended up taking 4th, and that was this event, I think, if I heard correctly, this event happens every week 13 in the Spec Racer Ford community?
Yeah. We it's a tradition since going back to before we have really large grids in the Weekend Warriors. This is the 27th running of it, so it was great to do it at a unique, interesting track. And again, we were able to get we were at least able to get a good show out of it.
Well, it definitely was a brilliant showing. Dan, thank you so much for joining us for an interview. Before we let you go here on Apex Racing TV, is there anyone you'd like to give a shout out to?
Oh, well, first of all, thank you to everybody who participated in the event. Thank you for, Stevie Ray had run this event for a while until he asked me to take over. Thanks to you guys for broadcasting. Thank you to, there's not enough people to thank. Jim McGill helped us with the sponsorship of the regular series during the Weekend Warrior series. Just you can't just do this with one person. It took everybody, and I was so happy to have everybody come out.
Absolutely. Well, Dan, thank you so much for joining us, and I hope to see you back in the interview box very soon.
Well, thanks. I hope so too.
Well, it was great to hear from Dan there, and yeah, this has been an absolutely brilliant event. Do we have enough time for one final interview? Yes, I think we do. We've got someone in, I think it's Jason Perry, in the interview room for Jim to speak to.
Sure. Jason, can you hear us?
I can, Jim. How you doing?
Oh, great. Fantastic. Congratulations on your race results there. You probably weren't expecting to end up where you did. Can you talk us through your mindset as as the race unfolded?
I just thought Christmas to come early, really. I was driving my own business and people falling off the track in front of me. So thank you to everybody for my early Christmas present.
Well, I don't think it was all luck. I mean, you and Sadro were closing up on that group of guys, so it was, I think you earned the luck.
Yeah, sure. You have to be there to pick up the pieces. I assumed they were fighting amongst themselves, which is why we were catching them.
Yeah, and you ended up with a relatively damage-free car, going by the rest of the field.
Yeah, I thought I had a 0x, but then I looked at the end of the race and I had 8x, so I don't know if it counts the the heats as well, or something.
Yeah.
Or I
Well,
just forgot all the incidents that I had.
So you're going along. You and Sadro had a battle. You guys were battling, but I guess you must have at some point while battling one another for, I guess you were battling for 6th or 7th, I guess, and then you must have had a moment where you thought, hey, wait a minute, we're catching this group ahead. Maybe we should take it easy and just close up this gap.
Dan was damaged, and fairly early on, I think he clipped the wall or something, and he told me, like 9 laps probably before I finally overtook him, that he was damaged and I was getting a free position, and then he started pulling away from me. So we never really worked together, and then he had a moment in turn 2 and just let me pass because there was no point fighting. His car was a bit slower.
Yeah. Well, it all ended up in a podium position for you. You got to be pretty happy about that.
Yeah, like you say, very unexpected. It was kind of a quiet race in the middle. Like I said, just minding my own business. But fun to go out with the guys every week 13 and do something a bit different. Just before I go, just want to send all of our love to Gorka and his wife. I don't know if you've spoken about Gorka, but I won't say anything more. But yeah, the whole SRF community is thinking about them and sending them love.
Yeah, we did. Marco mentioned that early in the broadcast. He was just explaining why people were running with those pink wheels, just as your car was. And it's just for thinking about a friend and a family as they're dealing with some very difficult health challenges. So, thank you for your consideration.
Thanks, guys. And thanks for televising the race. Have a good Christmas, everybody.
You bet. You too. Thanks so much. That's your 3rd place finisher, Jason Perry.
Absolutely, it was great to hear from him, and it's been a fantastic event. I've really enjoyed this. I didn't expect quite as much carnage as we got, but I'm glad we did get quite a bit of carnage. It wouldn't really be a Detroit race without it, I don't think, but it's been an absolute blast to be able to bring this to you live on Apex Racing TV. We do have the regular season of the Spec Racer Ford Weekend Warriors live on Apex Racing TV for 2020 Season 1. And that's going to be pretty much the same time as this, 5 minutes to 8 p.m. GMT. That's going to be every Sunday for the next iRacing season, the next 12 weeks or so. And we're going to bring you the action once again live on Apex Racing TV. So I think it's going to be myself and Jim on that as well. We'll have to double check that. But it's going to be an awesome series. I can't wait for the 2nd season on Apex Racing TV. But from now, from myself, from Jim, from Marco Barbanera in the production booth, and also briefly in the commentary booth, I'd like to wish you, as Marco laughing in the background, we'd like to wish you a good night and happy racing. Thanks for watching.